Sairam, everyone. Anyway, last week I wasn't around, but from what I understand that you all covered 2 points up to point 39, I guess, where Swami is talking about even if you cannot do anything good, desist from doing anything bad. If anyone would like to summary so that we can start, otherwise we can continue from reading from the next one, I think, which is also on the same topic where Swami has spoken about finding fault. Sairam, sister. You take us, otherwise we'll proceed, Sister Kalyani, then maybe we'll start from there.
Or should I read 39 again? Or?
Yes.
39. Even if you cannot or will not do any punya or good deed, do not conceive or carry out any papa or bad deed.
Sairam, everyone. I think it's reasonably, I think you must have discussed this last week. I think this relates to what Swami says, help ever, hurt never. That we should do good things and we should desist from bad things. And Swami here says we should desist from doing anything bad. Even if you cannot do anything good, it's okay, but don't do anything bad. I think it's what Swami says. If anyone has something to say, we will discuss, otherwise we will move on. Okay, sister, why don't we read on and then we'll see. I guess people have to warm up.
40. Whatever people may say about the faults that you know are not in you, do not feel for it. As for the faults that are in you, try to correct them yourself, even before others point them out to you. Do not harbor anger or bitterness against persons who point out your faults. Do not retort, pointing out the faults of those persons themselves, but show your gratitude to them. Trying to discover their faults is a greater mistake on your part. It is good for you to know your faults. It is no good your knowing others' faults.
Thank you very much, sister. I think there's no real reason for me to expand on this. We can discuss. I think Swami, one of the analogies which Swami gives about this is that he says our buddhi or our intelligence is like a mirror which can reflect anything for us. So he says that buddhi has been given to us so that we can look at our own faces, just like on a mirror we can look at our faces and correct things. This buddhi is to be used to correct the faults in us. But instead, if we use that mirror and show it in front of others' face, we will be losing the opportunity of using that buddhi properly for our own benefit and growth. So I think that's something similar Swami is saying. If somebody says, something is there on your face, we have to take the mirror and look at our face and fix it. Rather than if we don't even look at our face and we start finding faults with the other person's face, no good comes out of it. This is something which Swami has repeatedly said. And here he says, I think one more important thing, he says, don't harbor anger or bitterness against those persons. I think that we have to watch out for. I think all of us, at least I feel, at least we tend to fall into this problem. Okay, I will pause here, and anyone else who would like to add something, please go ahead.
No, it's again, it's not, this again is a very extremely difficult thing. Whatever is so easy to say, but whenever, even if it's, Swami, even if the someone points out our faults or criticize us, even if it is true, it's all depend. It comes to the ego thing, right? As long as you have ego, even a little bit, you are going to get hurt. You are going to hate who points out your fault. But that is a hard work we have to do. That's what Swami is saying. Saira.
Thank you very much. But anyone else would like to?
There's some comments in the chat box.
Please read it out.
So owner is saying, as of 39, what is bad? Explain, please. And Brother Sitaram is saying, as per Puranas, punya and papa are defined as paropakaraya, punyaya, papaya, parapidanam. Swami's most famous quote, which is also the meaning for this help ever, punya, hurt never, papa, Sairam.
Thank you very much, Cecil. I think the question and answer is already provided. That's good. Going back to point 40, anyone else would like to comment on this?
Sairam, I want to add a point here. There are people by nature, they try to find faults in others. That's their nature. There are some others, it is because of the welfare of the other person, they tell them it's not a finding fault, but they simply advise them, hey, you shouldn't have behaved like that. That's in a good way. We should take it as an advice, not like a finding fault in others, like okay, he's telling me for the good reason. Then that understands. Then we don't have a grudge on the other person.
Saira.
Sairam, I just wanted to add one more point here for the point number 40. Do not get anger or bitterness against the person who pointed out. That is very important for us to keep in mind, right? If you show the anger, then you won't come to know what you are doing incorrect. So anyone pointing out your fault, take it as something that they have said something good for you to do, not against them. That part I think I would like to add to. Thank you, Sairam.
Saira, sister. Thank you very much. Anyone else would like to share something, please? I think maybe I'll just say something and then we can move on. I think one of the problems which all of us, or many of us, or some few of us face is that if our sole focus is on self-improvement, then we will not dwell on anything else. If somebody says something to us, whether either to help or sometimes out of spite, people say something. I think if we are just focused on our own self-improvement, we will take it with the most positive attitude. We'll say, okay, we got some feedback. Let's see whether it is of value. Is it true? And then we can fix it and then move on. If it is not true, then we don't need to be affected by it. That shows, the intention of the other person, maybe maliciously trying to say something, but there's no point in us dwelling on it. Because even when we do something bad, we should know what's our intention, because then we revert back to point 39. If our intention is to hurt the other person by finding fault, then we are tending to hurt them. So I think that's what Swami is warning us against. Because sometimes we think, we may not do harm to others, but even some small things like that may amount to doing harm. So I think that's the reason Swami is just warning us, and because it's something which we usually may fall into that trap. Okay, Sairam.
Brother Sairam, in that case, how come that the last sentence is kind of contradicting with the points that we are discussing? It is no good you're knowing others' fault. So without knowing fault, how we are going to tell that person? I'm just thinking. Thank you, Sairam.
So I will. Anyone else would like to comment on what sister is saying? If we don't know other people's faults, how can we help them? Is I think the question which sister is asking. So we may not be able to help anyone. So how can we do that?
I just joined. I don't know, but I just heard your sentence that how can we help other people? My understanding is, and correct me, our spirituality is all about us to improve, not others.
Okay, thank you, sister.
Sairam, I think whatever we dwell on, that is what eventually will become our own character. So that is why I think that is that bhavam, that bhavati. Maybe so. That is why we should not dwell on the wrong things of others or bad things of others. Sairam.
Okay, Sairam.
Sairam, brother. In that case, we cannot point out any fault on others. Like, so somebody is pointing out fault, take it as a gratitude and do something. Then I think maybe only mistake we can point it out. Fault mean they're doing by knowing something and we are not supposed to do nothing about it, kind of. I don't know. I'm just.
Sister, the
Yes.
second last, I think, question, the second last statement answers your question. Swami says, trying to discover their faults is a great mistake on your part. So there is a difference between trying to discover other people's faults and seeing other, by chance others' faults and pointing out. Unless they are seeking our help, I think we should not try to discover. That means what we are doing is we're spending time searching for the faults of the other person. I think which is different than if you saw something by natural process and then you let that person know, give some feedback. But instead, if you are trying to discover, means we are sitting down, we're angry with someone, we are trying to search what can we point out. And I think that is what Swami is trying to tell us to avoid.
Great. Thank you so much, brother.
So yeah, on this, maybe it's a aside. I will tell it is. I think you can Google and you can find. There was a professor called Professor U.S. Rao. He was the head of the faculty for management in Puttaparthi, and he was a director of the campus. So at one point, he asked this exact same question to Swami. Swami, I'm the director, and there are so many things going on. How do I go around finding what is not right, and correct people, And then Swami told him, look here, it is impossible for you to correct everyone who is there. And you should not dwell on that as your job. But what you have to do is, whatever comes in front of you, analyze that and fix problems if there are any. The rest I will take care. So anything which passes your desk or in your presence, fix that. And that's the most important. For example, then if somebody has brought it to your attention, then you can take a look at it. But you don't go looking for faults. It was something which Swami told, but it's the second or third hand I'm telling this, but I think that's what Swami is trying to refer to us here. Like if you see someone's mistake through a normal course of interaction, I think it's no harm in pointing it out. But instead, if we spend all our time searching so that we can point out, I think that's when it can become a problem. And I think that's what I think. If you we read the whole paragraph. Swami says we are harboring anger, we are having bitterness, and then we want to retort. So then we are trying to discover faults. I think that's what my understanding. But I will stop here. Others can say whatever they have in their mind. So okay, then we'll move on. I think Brother Vimalesan has already nicely put. If we think about others' fault, that's what we will become. Which also Swami has said. We should not dwell. Saira. We'll move on to the next point, Sister Kalyan.
41. Whenever you get a little leisure, do not spend it in talking about all and sundry, but utilize it in meditating on God or in doing service to others.
Thank you very much, Sister. So Swami is talking about time management, I guess, is how do we spend time? Because most of the time when we have things, a lull or nothing to do, we think we are bored and the mind starts running about, running around. And then we may make phone calls, I guess, in this time of, and then we start talking about others. And I think Swami is warning us not to do that. So I will stop here, and anyone else would like to comment, please go ahead. I think if there's no, I think it's pretty straightforward. So Swami is giving very practical, very small practical tips for all of us to follow. I think the importance of these steps are important, I guess, from a spiritual perspective. That's why Swami is giving to us so we can evaluate for ourselves how we spend our time. If there's no other comment, we can move to the next point, Sister Kalyani.
Just one point, please.
Yes.
So on this point 41, so now we got lots of time. COVID lets us stay in home, like this study circle. Thanks for Region 2 to organize these 3 study circles during the weekend. It gives us a lot of opportunity to meditate on God and practice what Swami said, meditation, service to others, and so many other spiritual sadhanas that we can do staying at home. Thinking of the Creator, creation, I think it's a big break or pause in our life, busy life, that gives us this. We have to take it as a positive opportunity to be in spiritual path. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you. Anyone else would like to add something? Okay, then we will move on to the next point, Sister.
42. The Lord is understood only by the Bhakta. The Bhakta is understood only by the Lord. Others cannot understand them. So do not discuss matters relating to the Lord with those who have no bhakti. On account of such discussion, your devotion will diminish.
Sairam, Sister. I think it's a very important point, I guess, for all Sai devotees. I will, there's nothing much for me to add here, so I will open it up for anyone to discuss.
Sai Ram, either here I will share my experience. Sometimes I have realized we are so much in love with Bhagawan and our devotion. We get engaged in discussions and the arguments. And what end up is we end up having that stress after that discussion where we should be in peace. This is something I have experienced in the past, that you have to, love is there for Bhagwan, but at the same time he should not be a point of discussion in the environment or with people, those who are not at the same wavelength of yours, because then you're losing your peace, or at the end you will be ending up with lots of arguments and bad feeling, bad taste in your mouth. Sorry, Ram.
Sai Ram, thank you very much, sister. Anyone else would like to add something?
Hi Ram, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Sai Ram, I think we can include miracles also here. No, suppose I get some vibhuti coming from my pictures, Baba's pictures, and if I discuss it with others, at the end I will be the losing party, because they will not believe it and they will say other excuses, and at the end I will be in discontent. No? So it could be mostly this happened. So always better to keep the miracles within ourselves, unless there is a very true devotee who can believe it. Otherwise, let us keep silent. No? That's what I just want to add that point. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone else would like to add something, please?
Yeah, Swami says with the non-believers, definitely we should not, because we might think we are already steady on our bhakti, but still, if someone says something, it can shake a little bit our faith and all that. So, but with the believers, with the Swami's devotees, I think Swami says, share your experiences and share the joy of it, so that others might benefit. And I think that is true, because that listening to and reading to so many devotees' experiences, we have benefited definitely. So that might be other way also, but still we have to discriminate what we can share and what not. Silence.
Sai Ram, brother, thank you. Anyone else would like to add something?
Sai Ram. Yeah, that Brother Bimlesh is right. That I mean that we can say our experience to others, we can share with others. It's no wrong with that. And likewise, that the rain is coming from the sky, it's falling everywhere. No, that's on the land. That's coming to the good land, also the bad land. That's not product land. No, that likewise that we can say our input to anybody, that share with anybody. Mean that sometimes some people don't know about Swami. Some people listen to about this or miracles or that whatever experience that maybe they can change themselves too. There's no wrong that we are sharing that our experience with Swami, and that's my opinion. Thank you, Saira.
Anyone else would like to add something or share your thoughts?
Just as a caveat, if somebody is asking you something about Swami from a place of genuine curiosity, like if they, like I think we shouldn't take it to the extreme where we keep Swami kind of secret, right? Like we can explain our beliefs, and if somebody is asking.
Okay, so thank you, sister. Anyone would like to comment? Because Sister Kalyani says, does this mean being secretive, or does it mean, if somebody is genuinely curious, can we explain? Based on, what the thing is, we are trying to understand what Swami has said and practice it properly, I guess. So Swami has said, do not talk to anyone who is not a devotee, I guess, about matters relating to the Lord. But Sister Kalyani is asking, when someone is curious, can we talk to them? I think that's a question from Sister Kalyani. I will open it up for discussion, because I think it's important that we have some clarity. Only then we can practice. I think each of us may get our own clarity, which may be different, but I think it's just a matter of sharing everyone's thoughts. Saira, please go ahead.
Sai Ram, my name's Anita. It's the first time I'm asking or sharing, my views. I hope you can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes, Sister Anita.
Okay. I think it's the trust and the relationship we have with that person, because I know in my family, we have a lot of people who are Sai devotees, but then there's also others who believe in everybody, kind of like that. And people or my family members who've had miracles happen, they do not share it with all. They are very selective. And I think I trust that, because my relationship with you is like, if we both trust each other that I'm not showing off and I'm not too excited and I'm not lying or something, because sometimes every person is so in love with their God and their religious kind of relationship with their divine that, they might think, oh yeah, you're exaggerating the miracle, but only we know that miracles happen because we believe in Sai and we have that. But a lot of people who are influenced by other religions, or they are not that trusting or something, I think it's all about relationship, how we're going to be able to share. Sorry, that's my view. Thank you, and Sai Ram.
Thank you, sister.
So Sai Ram, brother. So if we have any information or with a merit only, you achieve some levels, or you came to know Baba, or you achieve some miracles and everything. If the other person wants, or other party wants to know with their words, thoughts, deeds are good, or if they really wants to know, you can express your experience and everything, and don't try to force someone to believe. That will end up with your experience may also and belief also may go down. So we have to judge the people, and our motivation is to build up our spiritual level. So we have to careful when we are talking to the other people, what to discuss and everything. Thank you, Sai Ram, brother.
Thank you very much.
Sai Ram, brother, is including the rituals part too, the bhakta, what they are doing to the Lord? You are not supposed to question. They have to do their own, and there's something we shouldn't comment on it too. I'm just thinking, you know what? If we are not supposed to question, they are doing with their bhakti whatever they feel like to do to the Lord, right? So we cannot say you cannot do this, you can do this kind of. In private, they can do anything. Some people say, oh no, kind of. Not some people, like, is it nice to comment, or just is that? I think the rituals part are also supposed to be concerned on this. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you very much, sister. So sister has asked another question. What are the what are the topics which we can discuss? I think is another question. So she's asking whether we can discuss rituals and things like that.
Sai Ram, I would say it's another point. Sometime we go and say people to Sai Ram. I am in a Sai group. I can say Sai Ram to you all. But when I say somebody to say not in Sai, heard of Sai, or they are not come to the Sai, or they don't know about Sai, when I go say Sai Ram, when someone say Vanakkam, then I have to say Vanakkam. I don't want to try to say you have to say Sai Ram too. But sometime in the same family, some people say Sai Ram, but it has to come from their heart to say Sai Ram. If someone come to say Assalamu alaikum, then I have to say Alaikum Islam. Like I have to respect all others' beliefs and everything. For me, I don't want to try to say to other people what I believe. Swami never say like that. I think Swami always say, be a true Christian, to be a true, whatever you believe, be true to the religion. That's what sometimes people think whenever we say Sai Ram, they have to say Sai Ram too. That is also I am pointing out, Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, sister.
So Sai Ram, brother. So if we take about the glory, so what's the meaning of the glory? It's used to describe the manifestation of God's presence as perceived by human. So it all, whatever our songs and everything, when you write the songs or anything, it has to go to the people. If you have experience, you have to tell to the people. Then only you can improve other people also. So there's no harm in telling your experience and everything, but you have to be careful to whom you're going to tell that one. That's we can discuss about the glory also, brother. Then so what's the meaning of the glory? That everyone's experience, what's the perceived by the human. Then if you take Anapanayanar or anybody, so they are talking about what they had experienced and passing to the other people to improve their spiritual level. Thank you, brother Sai Ram.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Sai Ram. As Sister Aruna said, we can include the rituals part also. So I might like to do Abhishekam on a Shvalinga, and others might not like it. So any personal rituals and personal sadhanas can be kept within myself. And what I originally thought was, if I saw a miracle on my photos or very personal to me, some miracle, say Vibhuti or Amirdam, and if I say that to even a Sai devotee, it might affect my humbleness, my devotion to God. So for example, in the WhatsApp, we see so many miracles, honey coming out, vibhuti coming out, and we pass that on to our friends, our Sai devotee friends. So they will accept it. But if I say, I get honey from my photos, and if I broadcast it, it might affect my devotion. So suppose I get honey from my picture. I can take the picture and put it in WhatsApp, and not to say that honey is coming from my photo. Don't involve myself in that dissemination of facts. That's what I originally said. Even Baba is saying that, okay, keep it within you. So certain things like that. But some other experiences, not like materialization, other experiences, some coincidence, some, say, I was standing 5 minutes before that spot where some accident took place. So I was there just a moment ago. When I moved back, there was an accident on the spot. That is, you can say. But when I say about some materialization, let me not point out that I had that one. That's why my humble opinion. If it is wrong, please disregard it. Thank you, Saira.
So, brother, if you tell your experience to the other people with a full good heart, if the other person also going to listen to that, and it look like you are encouraging the other person to go on your path too. Sometimes it may help, but if you don't, some other people, they don't accept that one. But if you don't, the people are in that circumstances, you can tell that too. Is my opinion, brother. Thank you, Saira.
Sarah, sometimes this is not wrong that we are sharing the other people that our experience. I have little experience with that. I can share with you if you want. Can I?
Yeah.
Yeah. One time I went to Sri Lanka. That time my one sister. I have two sisters. One sister is belong to Swami devotee. Other sister don't like Swamis. When talking, no. Sometimes I am talking to them Swami about Swami. Their first daughter-in-law. She married about 5-6 years. They didn't have children. No. That girl was talked to my daughter, my wife, and she was very sorrow with that, and she was very I don't know. The people are saying back to her that something. She was very bad situation at that time. She was told my wife. Then after I came to Canada. I was praying in my puja room. I remember that time that these things, and I thought that I take some Swami's Vibhuti, and after that I wrote Gayatri Mantra and sent to that little girl. Then I told them that this is Swami's Vibhuti, and this mantra is Gayatri Mantra. You believe you are God. Whatever you pray, you fully believe, and take this Vibhuti and pray, chanting the Gayatri Mantra, and if you can give some food every Thursday to the temple and give the deities, no? They did that way. After next month, I got the good news. I don't know that from where it's come from, that maybe Swami, or the next month they got the good news. He got a son. After that, he got a daughter. When I was sending that Vibhuti, there's a picture on the paper. There's a small boy carrying another girl. That's by accident. That photo was there. Now after that, they got one son. After they got another daughter. They have 2 children now. They put the Swami's names there for the children. This is Swami's work. Thank you.
So thank you very much, brother. I think I will just say something, because I think the key word in this point is what's called discuss. And so I looked up the Telugu version, and Swami says, Tarkinchakanu. Basically, what he says, don't debate, don't argue.
That's true. That's right.
So don't try to force your reasoning on that person. So what happens? So that is what Swami is discouraging. So I think the key word is discussing. Sometimes you may share out of enthusiasm, but once if the person says, no, what you're saying is wrong, maybe because of this, because of that, then what happens? We get emotionally worked up and we start debating, discussing, trying to convince the person that, our experience was valid. Such things Swami, I think, wants us to avoid, because that will take us down the wrong path. So he's basically asking us not to discuss. When I discuss means back and forth, I think that it's the choice of English word discuss is not the best one. I would say debate or argue is a better word, because the word which Swami is using is tarka. Tarka means even arguing with certain, trying to convince the person. A debate is, I think, the right word to use in my view. So that's what Swami has used. I think based on what all we have said, yes, we can share, but we should not debate. Once you start debating, then it becomes a problem. I think that answers everyone's question. I think Sister Kalyani asked about curiosity. If someone asks, if someone is asking with curiosity, you can share. But when they start, maybe they start trying to break down your belief with their arguments, then it becomes a problem. Then I think we should not continue, because the intention of the person who is asking for the information may be with some other ulterior motive, just to weaken our own faith. And I think ultimately, if we see such discussions are leading to us, our faith diminishing, then we should take it as a wrong sign as to knowing that we should not engage in such actions or such discussions in the future. I thought I would just mention it here, and then we can continue. I hope that answers all of your questions. It can relate to anything, even whether it's rituals, whether miracles, or anything. You can share, but once you start debating, arguing about it, I think we should stop.
Sairam, brother, here I just want to add one more thing in regards to the ritual side too. The Lord understand the bhakta. One time I was questioning my sister-in-law why you are cooking on a different dish, vegetarian vessels that you are using when your tongue and your tummy is one and the same. So why are you separating out? Then, but she has a strong belief on that, right? Then all of a sudden in my hand I had my one of the spoon, it's broke right away. So I realized that the bhakta and the Lord only knows their devotion. So even if I think that is not right, even sometimes you shouldn't say anything, kind of. I learned my lesson on that day. So I would like to share this one too. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank
you.
Sairam, the explanation Swami's Telugu version is very good, and is really good to understand the meaning. I think nowadays we are learning more than English to kind of Swami's version of the Telugu. Tarkam, we used to say Tarkam. I think it's a very good explanation. Thank you, brother Sairam.
So I think we will move on to the next point, if it's okay. Sister Kalyani, I think we can't hear you.
Sorry, just to go back to point 41, if I can just ask a question about that. So Swami is saying for any leisure time we have, we should spend it meditating on God or doing service to others. So would Swami not approve of any sort of entertainment at all, for like even watching sports or a play or something like that?
Here it says, do not spend it in talking about all and sundry. All and sundry means unwanted people, actually. So you can talk to people who in your close proximity, you know. So about all and you want to spend it talking about all and sundry. Yeah, some confusion actually. Yeah, sorry. Okay.
I don't know, sister. So I will just say my piece, and then others can chime in with theirs. See, the Swami, the thing is, the devotee who is really pining to have God, attain God, will use every single moment available. Is, for example, if you want to do something, achieve something very badly, we will throw every resource, time, money, effort, everything on that. The thing is, ultimately, the extent of our effort decides how much reward we get. So, it all boils down to that. If people, Swami says, there's no force for anyone to do anything. But as long as people know that this will give us some benefit, then you will put everything. Because I am Swami. This is a story told by Swami, so I will repeat that. Once Vivekananda apparently asked Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, see, Swamiji, you are telling that you are able to see Kali, and I am also doing sadhana, meditation, but so for such a long time, but I'm unable to see her, even have a glimpse. And here you are continuously, constantly seeing her. So Ramakrishna apparently said, okay, come with me. And he took him to the nearest river. And he told, look, bend down and look at the water. And when he bent down, apparently he held his neck and pushed his head under the water and held it there firmly. And Ramakrishna, Vivekananda was struggling for breath. And at the end, he pushed the Guru's hand and came out. Then apparently Ramakrishna asked, what happened to you? He says, oh, I couldn't breathe. It was too much. So Ramakrishna apparently told, if you have that kind of struggle to get breath, if you have the same kind of struggle to get God, you'll get it. So it all depends on, I think, how much time we put in. That's the result we will get. So it is not a matter of good or bad. But in this case, Swami is saying, at least don't talk about, means I think, do something positive with your life. Think of God or do service to others at least. Actually, in Telugu, he says, think of God. And then he says, if you can't do that, then at least do service to others. So that's what Swami says. Leda means if that's not possible, then you do service to others. Swami talks about Ananya Chinta, think of God without any other thought. So I think it depends on the amount of time and resource and energy and enthusiasm we put in. We receive the reward accordingly. So I will stop there. Sai Ram, sister. I don't know whether it answered your question, but it's Sai Ram. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts, please?
So Sai Ram, brother. So we have to think about our purpose of the life. We don't want the birth again. So we have to utilize our time. Our tongue supposed to be dance with the name, and even the last minute, our death time, that time your tongue won't work. Even the breath supposed to be practiced to come with the God's name. So in order to do that one, we need a lot of sadhana and a lot of practice. So this is my simple explanation also, Brother Sai Ram.
Thank you very much. There's a question on the chat box. What does all and sundry mean? So what Swami says, in Telugu, Swami says, Veru Vishayamula Pai.
That's correct.
That's it. Swami is only using one word. Veru means other. Vishya means other things. Other topics. Veru Vishayamula Pai. That's the word Swami has used. Okay, Swami has used one word. Means anything else.
Yeah. That is true. I misunderstood first. The correct thing is other matters, worldly matters. Yeah.
Other matters, exactly.
Yeah, worldly matters.
Sairam all.
Sairam.
Thanks, Aruno. I think the way you explain is good. It's clear. And also Dasan also brought it out that we have to have set a goal and we have to go ahead. We have to avoid all distractions. That is what Baba is trying to say. Avoid distractions and focus on your goal. So I think that's what we all have to do. Thanks, Saira.
Thank you. So I think it is just as Auntie mentioned, it's like, we have to catch a bus in 10 minutes. So we are at home. What do? We will cut down any distraction so that we'll run and catch the bus. I think spirituality is like that. As time progresses, maybe when we are young, it is okay.
Yeah.
But even that, there's a budget. It's a distraction. But I will just mention it because Swami says, Swami quotes Shankaracharya, where he says the childhood is spent in play and songs, and the adulthood is spent on accumulation and getting married and having a family. And when you grow old, you worry about this and that, and people don't have time for God at all. So I think that's that sort of. And then another thing which Swami says, our spiritual progress depends on two things. One is ahara, which is food. The second one, Swami says, vihara, how we spend time. And these two will determine our progress in spirituality. So I think those I thought I will add.
Sairam, brother, I'm just going back to Kalyani's question again. So there is no room for entertainment, or Swami is referring in a different way. The entertainment can be done in a something we can think about it too, because entertainment is not at all part of it, or there's a different way of looking at it, kind of something. That's a good question. I'm just.
It's a very good question, sister. Very good question. I think, see, for example, people sit in front of the TV and you can entertain yourself a variety of things. Why do we want entertainment? Because we get joy out of it. Some joy. Because we think we have been doing something very, we are tiring. So now we want a break. So we go to we try to identify something which makes us relax. As people say, we want to wind down. These are terms used. I think if we cannot find thinking of God a relaxing activity, then there's a problem with devotion. If we think it is taxing and trying to think of God, then I think we need to really work hard. This is my personal understanding, because everyone likes to go and back and do the things which relaxes them the most. Okay, ultimately that's all all of us do. The thing is, if we cannot find relaxation, if we cannot train ourselves to find relaxation in the thought of God, then I think we may have to work a little harder. It's my personal view. Because if we have not developed the taste for it, if we have not developed the ability to get relaxation, joy, peace, everything from the thought of God, then we have to question our devotion itself. Because devotion is all about that, cultivating an ability to get relief from everything in this world. So that's all I can say. That's my personal view, and others can chime. Sairam.
Thank you.
Sairam, I think I perfectly 100% agree with Aruno. Brother Aruno. I think that's the main thing. The other day I was listening a spiritual discourse of Swami Ongal. So no, usually what do we love? Whatever, whether it's people or entertainment or thing, whatever, a car or anything, what gives us the word is sukham, that we love. See, any activity, any people, anything, whatever, which gives us sukha, is that's what we love. Otherwise, we won't, and that's what we do. So unless thinking of God, reading about Him, talking about Him, singing bhajan, whatever, anything relating to God, that should give us the most sukha. Then we love God. Otherwise, we won't. Otherwise, we will do it as a duty or just as a ritual. So that is the main thing, I think. So we have to come to that stage. Sai
Ram, so in that entertainment, you could also include family get-togethers or get-togethers with friends, because generally those times you're not really talking about God or spending time in God. So what do you do when you have a family or you have a partner or a child, and like you can do bhajans together as a family, but for that child, maybe they need some experiences or to go, enjoy their childhood, like taking them to different places or parks or things like that.
Sister, I have a thought here. Like whatever the entertainment that you are doing also, if you feel that's also given by God, that's something in your word, thought, your action, also you're doing with a thing with a good intention, having everything, I think, relate to your God and do things and having the fun. I think that's maybe their entertainment kind of we can think of. I'm just adding to that, Kalyan. I'm just thinking, so it's a good one. Thanks.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, sister.
I'm a prime example. Bhagawan has given me a life partner who's totally opposite to me. Totally opposite. He loves all the entertainment in the world you could think of, right? But he's such a lovely person, whose sole motto in life is just love. I think Bhagawan has taught me that if you have one motto in life, you can achieve everything. But he doesn't give up all the worldly things like going for the movie, watching shows, and all of those things. And he requires me to be with him as well. So I'm just sharing my personal thing. I used to enjoy sitting with him and all of that, but over a period of time, with Bhagwan's grace, these things doesn't give me much pleasure. So I am physically with him. We go out for movie. I watch NBA or whatever. But internally, I am reciting. He knows that I am there, but I know what I'm doing internally. And when I go with family get together, we had last week as well. I mean, not more than 10 people, just 6 people, just letting you know. So what happens is I take as a challenge to remind myself, and I have learned from Brother Aruno that whenever you go and you think that you will lose your peace of mind, is I take Bhagwan with me and think, today you are going to stay with me in my word, thoughts, and deed. There should not be anything come which will hurt other people or say anything where my ego is coming out. So I'm practicing spirituality by reminding myself his, and then testing myself. Am I still calm? I'm still, at peace. Am I still not controlling my tongue? So I have my different ways of testing my spirituality in a different get together. Just to share my thoughts.
Thank you very much, sister.
Really like Shivani's thing. Thank you so much, sister.
So, Kalyani, we had a very good question. And I will just tell one analogy Swami gives for this. Swami says, when we have to be in this world, we have to, as you said, we have to bring up children, they will go through their own journey and all that. That's part of our duty, and we should lovingly do that also, because we have some obligations, because we are born in this world and we move among everyone. But Swami says, we should be like a dancer who sort of balances a pot on the head. and dancers. You know, they can do all sorts of movements with their body and dance, but their total attention will be on the pot, that it should not shake. So Swami says we should cultivate that kind of ability. That is, our head should be totally focused on one thing which we are trying to balance, but we should learn the skill of dancing to the tunes of the world to some extent without forgetting the pot on the head. So Swami has given that as the example. So even if we can sit through the entertainment, but our focus should be on Swami. Very well, Sister Shivani has brought out, and I hope that answers your question and everyone else's questions and discussions. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much.
So this is the advantage of, discussing among Swami's devotees, We all learn from each other. We all, it just keeps us in the right path. If we go and discuss elsewhere, we may be all confused and troubled and so on. But here, it helps us all. I think that's what Swami wants us to engage, and Swami has given us this opportunity.
Sai Ram, I also want to add another point here. Like in the Vedas, there are those guides us: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. If it is no entertainment or earning money kind of thing, those two aspects of artha, kama wouldn't have been in the scriptures, in the Vedas. Only dharma and moksha. It's not that the way that the scriptures mentioned. So you can have your entertainment, like as others mentioned, we can have the focus on God and have our life. That's otherwise you become frustrated in your life, right? So you can have those. Artha, kama can be in the part of the life. That should be the way it should be, right? As the grahastha, he has to serve the three categories of those people, right? So that there's nothing.
Okay, brother, we lost you, but I think, Brother Arul, you completed or?
Yes, I'm done. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Thank you
I
very
don't know,
much.
you were able to hear me, or I don't know.
Yes,
but I completed it. Thank you, Sai Ram.
So Sai Ram, brother, in my view also, you can enjoy everything in a moderate way, but your attachment supposed to be with the God, and you can love the kids and love the people. You can part of their entertainment too. You have to do that one, but it has to be moderate. But the attachment supposed to be with the God. Thank you, Sai Ram, brother.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, so if I think we're okay, maybe we'll read the 43rd one.
43. If anyone speaks to you on any subject, having understood it wrongly, do not think of other wrong notions which will support that stand, but grasp only the good and the sweet in what he says. True meaning is to be appreciated as desirable, not wrong meaning or many meanings, which give no meaning at all and cause only the hampering of ananda.
Thank you very much, sister. So Swami, I think it's continuing on the same vein, because he's talking, if anyone speaks to you on any subject, so any topic which we talk, if there are some wrong notions or arguments put forward by people, we should just be discrimination. You should use discrimination, only pick the ones which are beneficial, I guess, the good and the sweet, and we should not entertain. We should not think of other wrong things also. We should not go off on a different tangent. Is what Swami says. So I will stop here. If anyone else would like to share any thought about this,
Sairam, this is the essence of what we have been doing and are doing. So, Baba has said one thing, but we are bringing several meaning based on our understanding. So what we have to do? So that person is talking, understanding the subject wrongly. So we should not think, we should not analyze to justify his statement. But he is a nice person, he is telling in good intention, so appreciate it, grasp only the good and the sweet in what he says. The true meaning is to be appreciated as desirable, not wrong meaning or many meanings. Sometimes we see here in the study circle, maybe I am totally wrong, but I have seen right from the beginning, sometimes inappropriate meanings are coming without thinking. You know, when we understand the subject, we understand it as a whole. When we analyze it part, then you don't get it. So what is Bhagavan? What is he is doing? What subject this is? And this is Sandeha Nivarini. So look at the above quotation and below quotation and decide. So it is, as Brother Arno already said, the different points from different angles are coming. At least now, Brother Aruno finalize it somewhat what is it looks to be correct. So that is what Bhagavan is saying here. I don't know, but this is my just thought, my thoughts, Saira.
So, Sairam, brother, I totally agree with you, Brother Sivadas. Even sometimes I put my points, then after listening others' points, then I think I'm wrong. So that's what we are doing the study circle. I totally agree with your points. Thank you.
So, brother, you know, the thing is, as Swami said, we are all like the blind men trying to look at the elephant. That's spirituality. So I think that's the reason Swami has asked us to have this study circle, so that all of us are interested in the subject. All of us come together. All of us get our own perception from our own angle.
Yeah.
Each one actually complements ideally. And when we have the total picture, it will definitely help us. And I think that's what Swami wants us to do. And having these diverse perceptions is possible. And I think all of us also may have something which may not be accurate from our own perception. That also gets clarified by listening to everyone here. And I think ultimately at the end of the day, if Ananda is there, if there is joy, and I think that's the proof that, you know, the discussion has been worthwhile. And that's all I can say. It's wonderful to have everyone share. So Swami actually wants us to continue to, I think, this process of, you know, trying to find the true meaning, which is through which we will gain Ananda. Ultimately, when we go back, we should say, okay, we have understood it, we can put it into practice. It does not cause any issues. Maybe sometimes we have doubts and we come back and discuss. But I think as long as our genuine interest is to seek Ananda, I think we are okay. Sahir.
Sai Ram, Brother Sivadas bring out the very good point. Yeah, that's what we are doing, the study circle. I think everyone can talk their own views.
Thank you, sister. Thank you.
And everything, but end of the day, the whatever point we discuss here, I don't know, to the thing and explain whatever Swami says. That is mainly important. That we are coming to hear Sai's teaching from whatever Swami's views. The most important, most of the time he's reading the Telugu version and telling the thing what Swami says. That is very important. Everyone can share their own thoughts. The important point Brother Sivadas says, the whole meaning of understanding when the facilitator come, he read all the subject carefully and understand the meaning. Sometimes, the particular sentence or particular word, or sometimes people can confuse, but at the end of the day, the facilitator give us the proper explanation that is good for us to learn. Sairam.
Thank you.
Sairam, sister, I myself, I'm just putting together whatever everyone says. It's a blessing from Swami to have this satsang on a regular basis. Very nice.
And also, brother, a person who is practicing the principle must his words will be valid. No? So we see you had a lot of experience and with Swami, and also you have learned a lot, and you are practicing so many principles. So your words finally is the thing that we have to cherish, I think. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, brother, all of you humble. I think everyone, the reality is if all of you are here, every day of your life, Swami has guided you. Every day, Swami has guided. Otherwise, we will not be here. Just because the physical presence does not necessarily mean that we are guided. Our earnestness, our intensity, that's all makes us just be able to read Swami's words. It's a great blessing from him, and even to spend the time is also a great blessing. So I think everyone is equally being guided by Swami. We are just sharing, and we each other give us different, I think, some joy traveling together. That's what I would say. Thank you very much for your. I think you something overestimate.
But there's no Sairam, there's no overestimate. I agree with Brother Sivadas.
Okay, I think we'll go to the next point, sister.
Thank you, brother.
44. If you desire to cultivate one-pointedness, do not, when in a crowd or bazaar, scatter your vision to the four corners and on everything, but see only the road in front of you, just enough to avoid accidents to yourself. One-pointedness will become firmer if one moves about without taking one's attention off the road, avoiding dangers, and not casting eyes on others' forms.
Okay, Sairam, sister. As we can see, Swami is actually tackling every single sense. Indriya, sense control is that's all Swami is. Don't talk, don't listen, and now he has come to don't look. Swami gives a lot of importance to this. Swami always says, look down and walk.
Yeah.
Just look at the ground on which you are walking. Don't look here, there, without any need or reason. Because unnecessarily you look at things and that will trigger certain thoughts and it will damage. So it's a practice. So I think that's what Swami is, that one-pointedness Swami is talking about. And so there's nothing more for me to add. If anyone has something to say, please share.
Thank you, Sairam. One Sai student like you mentioned in his speech that Baba himself put his head down and walk, and all the students in his colleges are walking in a straight line, putting their heads down. So that's very good thing. Thank you, Sai.
Sairam, brother. I think in this sentence, Swami is asking to see the road in front of you. Is something Swami is trying to refer to put your head down and walk? That one I didn't understand.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Saira. This is Baba saying, don't get diverted by the other sides. When we walk on the road, look at straight and don't turn your eyes leftward or rightward and get other sides, other scenery. So that is the careful way of walking. Similarly, in the spiritual path, we should not deviate unnecessarily. We have to go straight on our spiritual path. Don't get distracted by other things. So as you said, we have to look at straight without meeting any accident. That's the meaning here. Thank you, sir.
Sairam, if I can share one thing about one-pointedness in spirituality, I can only remember Brother Jagadishan from Malaysia. He once spoke about mouse, Mushika in front of Ganesha, Lord Ganesha. Among all the pleasures, fruits and everything, all the food that mouse likes, it single-pointedly looking at Lord Ganesha's face. Even snake, among the snake and other animals, without fear, it is looking at God. So we should avoid material pleasures and all. Should always be thinking of Swami. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you.
Saira, thank you. Anyone else would like to add something, please?
I think, brother, just focus on the straight path on the spiritual side and control your mind. That if you look at around all over the places, all the senses won't listen to you. So it will end up with the problems. Thank you, Saira.
Saira. Anyone else?
Sairam, I just want to add one more thing. In road front of you, Swami trying to say focus on him and walking kind of.
Yeah.
That's my understanding on this. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you, sister. So there are a couple of points. So in every act, keep God as the center and teach the same to children. Focus is important. One point also means focus on one form of guru. Is it a question? Is it not? It's a question also. So here specifically, Swami is talking about eyes, basically what we look. Yes, it has certain inner meaning also in terms of one-pointedness, following the same path.
Yeah.
But I think Swami physically is talking about not casting eyes on others' forms. Because we look at somebody, for example, we may look at somebody driving a car, then we want to buy that car. We want somebody's wearing some clothes, then we want to buy those clothes. Somebody's wearing jewelry, then we want. Somebody looks good, then we want to know more about that person. So in this way, the world, every single input into our head distracts us, gives us another 1,000 thoughts about that. So Swami is very, very particular about students. You are not supposed to take your eyes off the road, like when you're going anywhere. And Swami will pull everyone. In those days, Swami was very strict. He will say, "This you are walking, and this is where you are looking." And he'll pull us up and say, "You're not supposed to." But I think all of us will realize the importance of that in the path of spirituality. Swami used to say that most accidents take place because people are looking at posters on the streets, cinema posters in India. That's what Swami used to say. So don't look, don't be distracted. The world is trying to always distract you. Keep your eyes focused on where you are going. So that way we reduce our desires, reduce distractions. That's what my understanding is, Saira.
Yeah, thank you.
If there are any other thoughts, we'll wait for about 10-15 seconds and then we can close the session because we are almost 10:20. So anyway, it was a wonderful discussion today. Lots of very practical tips. I think sometimes we think we talk a lot of philosophy, but this session has been full of simple instructions which we can all follow. At least one or two, if not everything. Very, very practical tips. At the end, every little progress we make, I think it will make us go forward and maybe faster. Quicker is a better word than faster, I guess. Sai Ram, everyone. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you.
We'll close with Samastaloka. Sai Ram. Oh. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sai Ram.